I will say this: what a heck of an episode! They are just keeping the freaking temperatures high. So let's break this down. So, House of the Dragon season 3, episode 3 is without a doubt one of the most pivotal chapters this series has ever produced. What makes it so fascinating is that almost entirely devoid of the traditional prestige television spectacle. There was no massive dragon brawls, no falling fortresses, no shocking deaths, and no battle of gullet level chaos. Instead, this episode does exactly what George R. R. Martin loves to do most. It forces us to deal with the aftermath. It shows us exactly what happens after the victory. And for years, Rhaenyra dreamed of sitting on the Iron Throne. For years, she fought to reclaim her father's legacy, convinced that the only thing standing between her and a golden age were Alicent, Otto, Aegon, and Aemond. But episode 3 delivers a brutal reality checking proof. The Iron Throne was never the finish line, it was the beginning of the end. And from a deep lore perspective, this mirrors the most haunting theme in Fire and Blood, and really A Song of Ice and Fire and Martin's entire body of work. Winning power is a sprint, but keeping it is an impossible marathon. So today we're going to tear down every political maneuver, every hidden implication, and every piece of foreshadowing in this episode because Rhaenyra isn't celebrating. She's standing on a throne built over a powder keg. So let's enter into the loreverse. This is your boy CBA's. Let's dive into this and break down this episode. So the episode opens on a note of absolute triumph. Daemon Targaryen arrives and he isn't playing around. He's backed by a fleet of dragons, and in Westeros, a dragon isn't just a beast, it's a political ultimatum written in fire. And when Daemon arrives with Caraxes, Silverwings, and his loyalists, Lord Ormond Hightower is forced to stare down the barrel of a dragon lord's ambition. With Aemon sidelined, the Triarchy crippled, and King's Landing under black control, the realm seems to be holding its breath, waiting for the peace that never comes. Martin loves to dangle the carrot of peace just before he rips the table out from under the characters. And on the surface, Ormond bends the knee. But let's not be naive. The Hightowers didn't survive for centuries by being reckless. Old Town was built by scholars, planners, and cold-blooded strategists who understand that patience is the deadliest weapon in a lord's arsenal. And the moment Ormond agrees to surrender Prince Daeron, the hair on the back of your neck should stand up because the Hightowers aren't folding. They are repositioning. They are playing the long game while Team Black is busy measuring their own drapes. And modern audiences often view hostages as a bit of, a feudal relic. But in Westeros, they are the backbone of diplomacy. Think of Theon Greyjoy, right? His entire life was a bargaining chip for his father's loyalty. Daemon demands Darren not because he wants a guest, but because he wants to delete the Hightower's most dangerous future asset. It's a calculated, ruthless move, but it assumes that his enemy is playing by the same rules of surrender that he is, and that is his first mistake. Rhaenyra finally occupying Viserys' chambers should have been the moment of ultimate vindication, but the scene is dripping with irony. She finally holds the seat of her birthright, only to realize the dream is hollow. The room came with the kingdom, and the kingdom is effectively an empty shell. She inherited a crown, but she also inherited a great debt, the rot and the resentment that comes with it. And the quietest moment of the episode, Grand Maester Orwell revealing the treasury is bone dry, is also the loudest. Larys Strong, the ultimate cockroach of the Red Keep, played his final hand perfectly. Rhaenyra won the castle, but the Greens won the war chest. And you cannot feed a hungry city with a chair made of swords. And without coin, Rhaenyra's claim is effectively just a suggestion. And the scene is a masterpiece of character study because we see this rat dinner happen, and Rhaenyra, gathering the lords to force them to look at the literal rats infesting their Red Keep is an act of supreme humiliation. It's a power move, sure, but it's a desperate one. And when she taxes the nobility to feed the small folk, she's trying to be a good queen, but she's also planting a target on her own back. And Martin reminds us here that good intentions are the quickest route to an early grave in King's Landing. She isn't gambling loyalty, she's manufacturing a mutiny. And there's a subtle shift in Rhaenyra's posture this season. She's moving away from the girl who wanted to be loved towards the queen who needs to be feared. It's the trauma, it's the grief, and it's the weight of the crown all converging. She's hardening, and in this world, that usually means the cracks are starting to show. And even though, Jace is gone, his absence is the gravitational pull of this entire episode. Every conversation regarding Corlys Valerian is tinged with the tragedy of the lost heir. Corlys gave his wife, his grandchildren, and his fleet to the cause, and he has nothing left to give. And yet Rhaenyra keeps asking for his soul. And even, to knighting these two dragon seeds is framed as a victory, but for any reader, right, of Fire and Blood, it's a terrifying red flag. They aren't heroes; they are chaos incarnate. And Rhaenyra is legit handing the keys to the kingdom to men who have no loyalty to the blood of the dragon, only to their own interests. So Hugh Hammer and Off the White is, that's a suspect, move on her part to an extent. And obviously, Chorus crashes out. The confrontation between Rhaenyra and the Sea Snake is the emotional heart of the episode. When Corlys finally acknowledges Adam and Alan as his sons, it's the moment the mask falls off. He isn't a politician anymore. He's a grieving father who realizes he traded his actual family for a seat at a table that doesn't respect him. And Rhaenyra does refuse, and her refusal to legitimize the bastards is the ultimate tragedy because she's trapped by her own past. Because if she legitimizes them, she validates the claim that her own children with Laenor were illegitimate, and she's forced to then sacrifice the stability of the realm to protect the lie of her own lineage. And it's kind of a classic agonizing paradox. And so on the other end, Allison is forced, powerless, and it's heartbreaking. And for the first time, she sees the truth. Viserys lived in a delusional bubble, convinced that his family could heal through sheer willpower. And Allison realizes that the wounds never healed. They just festered until they poisoned the world. And when we realize the captured prince is in Darren, the episode shifts from a drama to a heist film. The High Towers exploited the whole thing Team Black couldn't account for, which is arrogance. They assumed that because they know what a Targaryen looked like, they had the right boy. They fell for a bait and switch, and that changed the entire strategic map. And let's be blunt here. Team Black took the capital, but the High Towers won the day. The real Darren and his dragon, Tessarion, are free. Rhaenyra looks incompetent. The intelligence failure is massive. And Ormond just showed the realm that you don't need a dragon to beat a dragon lord. You just need a brain. Helena's, caterpillar metaphor is pure distilled fire and blood energy. A transformation requires the total destruction of the previous form. The cocoon isn't a nursery, but it's a grave, and the Targaryen dynasty is currently in the dissolution phase. And what comes out of the other side won't be what we recognize. And so as the banners burn, right, Daemon looks on with a grim satisfaction. He thinks he's burning away the greens, but you cannot incinerate a political cause. You can burn the silk and the paint, but the people who follow them remain. All he's done really is turn a political movement into martyrdom. And so at the start of this journey, Rhaenyra wanted the Iron Throne, and she has it, but episode 3 exposes the terrible, biting irony of Martin's world. The prize you fight for is always the thing that destroys you. She sits on a throne of knives, ruling over a city that's starving, with a council that's plotting, and an enemy that just outplayed her while she was busy celebrating. And the green banners might be in the dirt, but the cause survives. Darren survives. The Hightower legacy survives. This isn't a story about who sits on a chair. It's a story about the price of the ambition that put them there. And Rhaenyra is now realizing the tab is coming due. If you guys enjoyed this deep lore breakdown of House of the Dragon season 3 episode 3, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the loreverse, and and comment, tell me what you guys think. I'm trying to do these breakdowns in a fast enough time because I know you guys don't want to sit through a 20-minute long video like all of the other breakdowns. So I try to put these to within a 8 to 10 minute window so you guys can get enough lore and understand what's going on. So I hope you guys appreciate that, and I hope you guys enjoy that. But please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Stay crispy, and peace out. Loreverse breakdowns.